Let's get right into it.
Number 7. You know that one kid in school who treated their fingernails like an all-you-can-eat buffet? Yeah, turns out that wasn't just gross, it was a prophecy. Nail biting is one of those childhood quirks adults like to shrug off as cute or just nerves. But research says it's basically a preview trailer for anxiety disorders, perfectionism, or compulsive habits later in life. Think about it. You're 6 years old, gnawing on your pinky like it owes you money, and your brain is actually rehearsing a loop of stress-release behavior. It's like downloading a demo version of adult anxiety before puberty even hits. And the kicker? Your brain starts tying relief to destruction. You feel calmer only when you've ruined something, like your nails, your cuticles, or eventually, your credit score. Psychologists lump it under body-focused repetitive behaviors, which is a fancy way of saying you're doing it because your brain can't sit still. It's not just nerves, it's also boredom, frustration, and sometimes even perfectionism. That's why nail biters often grow up into adults who either obsessively double-check work emails or stress shop on Amazon at 3 a.m. So yeah, if you were the classroom nail chewer, congrats! You are running beta tests for your future stress management skills, which will mostly involve chewing your life into smaller pieces.
Number 6.
Okay, imaginary friends. Cute when you're 5, terrifying when you're 40. Having an imaginary pal as a kid is actually super normal. It's your brain stress testing social rules without real-world consequences. You can yell at Captain Marshmallow for stealing your crayons, and nobody's feelings get hurt. Genius. But here's the twist. Studies show that kids with imaginary friends often grow up to be hyper-creative and also hyper-anxious. Because when you spend years running simulations in your head, you get really good at it. So good, in fact, that your adult brain never shuts up. You're not just lying awake at night, you're running full-on courtroom trials in your skull about whether your boss sounded weird in that last email. It's like your brain hired an improv troupe and then never fired them. Every scenario gets played out. Your friend ghosting you, your date hating your shoes, your landlord plotting your eviction, over and over with dramatic lighting and a soundtrack. That overactive imagination builds creativity, sure, but it also builds anxiety spirals that could qualify as Olympic gymnastics. Basically, your imaginary friend didn't disappear. They just rebranded as your inner voice, and now they won't shut up about how you left the stove on.
Number 5. Remember when you disappear into a blanket fort for hours, hoarding snacks and drawing "no adults allowed" signs? Cute, except it was actually your training ground for avoidance coping. Yep, hiding in a self-made fortress of plush dinosaurs and Doritos crumbs was practice for the day you dodged taxes, deadlines, and uncomfortable phone calls with your dentist. Psychologists call this escape play. As a kid, it's harmless. Your world is chaos, so you build your own kingdom where you're in charge. But as an adult, the habit translates into procrastination, escapism, and a Netflix watch list so long it could choke a horse. Instead of dealing with bills, you're 6 hours deep into a true crime docuseries, wrapped in a blanket burrito, telling yourself, "I'll handle it tomorrow." Spoiler, you won't. The ironic part? Kids who are master fort builders often grow into adults with high creativity and problem-solving skills, but also high stress avoidance. You're great at building solutions in your head. You're just terrible at implementing them outside of your couch fortress. In short, your blanket fort didn't vanish. It just turned into your adult comfort zone, and now your landlord calls it rent arrears. Number 4. If you were the kid who could sniff out hidden candy like a bloodhound at a police raid, brace yourself. That sugar obsession was less about taste and more about dopamine training. Your little brain wasn't just saying yum, it was wiring itself to crave the quick-hit highs of instant gratification. Fast forward 20 years, surprise! You're not just craving Kit Kats, you're craving anything that gives you that same quick jolt. Scrolling TikTok, impulse shopping, refreshing Instagram like your thumb's on autopilot. Your brain got so good at chasing little hits of happiness that now it struggles with the long game like
saving money, staying on a diet, or finishing literally any task without 6 snack breaks. Neuroscientists explain it like this. Sugar floods your brain with dopamine, and a kid who binges it learns to associate pleasure with immediate. The adult version? Struggling to resist every digital slot machine on your phone, plus stress eating an entire pizza because future me will deal with it. Spoiler again, future you hates you. So yeah, that Halloween candy obsession, basically the rehearsal dinner for your lifelong relationship with impulse control. Or, let's be honest, the lack of it.
Number 3. You know that kid who couldn't go 10 minutes without making fart noises or pretending the teacher was secretly an alien lizard? Yeah, that one. Everyone laughed, teachers sighed, and deep down, it wasn't just haha funny kid, it was a survival strategy. Humor, in childhood, is basically emotional duct tape. You distract people from your insecurities by juggling them in public, and boom, you're suddenly the most popular kid at recess. But adulthood is less recess, more pay your bills on time, and that coping mechanism doesn't exactly retire. Former class clowns often grow into adults who can't stop deflecting with jokes. Awkward conversation? Crack a pun. Criticism at work? Self-deprecating one-liner. Serious emotional intimacy? Oh, you mean that stand-up set about your tragic dating history. The science here? Humor is a legit coping mechanism for anxiety and stress. It releases dopamine, lowers tension, and makes you feel in control. But overdo it, and you never actually address the underlying emotions. Instead, you just wrap them in punchlines and hope no one notices. Spoiler, they notice. Basically, if you were the clown, adulthood gave you the choice between being a charming comedian or the coworker who won't stop with the dad jokes at 8 a.m. Either way, you're still performing, just for an audience that's running on coffee instead of Capri Suns.
Number 2.
You cried when you lost your toy. You cried when you got a bad grade. You cried when someone looked at you weird in gym class. Sound familiar? Childhood tears aren't just drama. They're your nervous system saying, I literally have no other tools to handle this. And if nobody helps you build better tools, boom, adult meltdown city. People who cried easily as kids often develop into adults who struggle with emotional regulation, which is the polite, therapist-approved way of saying you cry when your DoorDash order is late, or when Excel crashes, or when your partner asks what's wrong for the 3rd time. Neurologically, kids who overcry are hypersensitive to stress, and their brains get conditioned to flood emotions outward instead of managing them internally. Without guidance, those habits follow you like a badly written sequel. It's not that you're weak, it's that your stress thermostat was never calibrated properly, so adulthood feels like living inside a microwave set to lava. On the bright side, crybabies are usually highly empathetic. On the not-so-bright side, apathy doesn't pay your therapy bill when you burst into tears over a slightly rude email. Basically, adult you is still a crybaby, just with a Wi-Fi connection.
Number 1. You had rocks. Or Pokemon cards. Or maybe an entire drawer dedicated to erasers shaped like food. Whatever your thing was, you are just collecting. You were rehearsing the fine art of obsession. As a kid, it looks harmless. Your parents roll their eyes while you brag about having 17 nearly identical marbles, and you feel like the Indiana Jones of junk. But here's the catch. Collecting is about control. Childhood is chaotic, and curating a pile of something, no matter how useless, gives you a hit of order in a disorderly world. And when that habit grows up with you, suddenly you're not stockpiling Pokemon, you're stockpiling online shopping hauls, unopened gadgets, or way too many decorative mugs that all say, but first, coffee. Psychologists call this the transition from developmental collecting to compulsive acquisition. Basically, your brain loves the dopamine hit of acquiring, but it skips the part where you actually need the thing, which is why your adult apartment looks like a storage unit with Wi-Fi. And yes, hoarding tendencies are linked to childhood collecting habits, even the innocent ones. The irony? Collectors often have above-average focus and persistence, but it's laser-beamed at Funko Pops, or half-read self-help books, or let's be real, 27 tabs open in your browser, for later. In other words, you mastered commitment just to the wrong things. Congrats, you turned into, look at my cool rock, into, look at my cool Amazon problem. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.